Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 19 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. We've been using this Zekrom team for a little bit now, and I'm going to do one or two more episodes with it after this one, and then we'll switch to a brand new team relatively soon. Still taking definitely comments and suggestions for what you'd like to see, so definitely let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you guys enjoy Road to Ranked, please show your support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. Gonna go up against the Kyogre and Necrozma team today. There's a Togekiss, which is definitely interesting. Not something that we see too frequently, but definitely something that's had success throughout the years of VGC. Lurantis is also quite interesting. I think like the Kyogre-Ludi combination is always just pretty scary. What I've led against that with this team is Incineroar, Zekrom, so I pressure Fake Out and force the Kyogre to switch out should it be slower. So I think I want to go Incineroar, Zekrom, Koko, and Kyogre here. Because Specsogre will kind of just destroy everything on my opponent's end if I can eliminate the Ludicolo. So eliminating Ludicolo is definitely priority number one. Stack Attacka, not that great. It doesn't really do much. Has to worry about superpower from Lurantis. Obviously walls the Togekiss, but that's it. Salamantis is just not the matchup to bring it in when there's two potential Ice Beam users. So we're going to get into it. We have faced a fair amount of Kyogre teams, and I do feel like I have a pretty good matchup against Kyogre. Mainly because if they're not Timid Scarf Kyogre, then I will be outspeeding them. That's always helpful. And then Necrozma, like my Kyogre kind of just obliterates with Water Spout or Origin Pulse. So I'm going to go with Instant Zekrom, get the initial Fake Out off, pressure with my own Fake Out. It's going to be Incineroar and Necrozma from my opponent's end. Alright. Definitely not what I was anticipating, but that's okay. I think turn one, I'm just going to probably switch out Zekrom into Kyogre and Fake Out Necrozma. Only downside is that his Incineroar does outspeed mine, so we could be losing a potential speed tie here, which would be bad. Or sorry, not even losing a speed tie, like I could just be going second. So he could just Fake Out my Incin. But I think I'll still Fake Out Necrozma here and switch out. Just because Intimidated Jolly Zekrom really isn't that great. Don't think Necrozma should be able to one-shot Zekrom anyway, so if I am able to get Kyogre in, like, then I can just click Origin Pulse. He could be going for something like Trick Room, which definitely would be a little bit annoying, but we can play around that for sure. And with the Intimidate, at least the damage output is significantly reduced on my opponent's end right now. So let's see if Vincent does go for a Fake Out. He's actually going to switch out. Maybe into Ludi? Togekiss. Okay. That puts me in a really good spot, because now I've got Scarf Ogre, I can just click Water Spout. And that might just knock everything out. It'll come close. I'm going to knock off the Necrozma, because I could see that switching out into Ludicolo and just Water Spout now. This is like more or less the ideal position I think like Kyogre wants to be in, because I think I should be faster, and I'm just Specsogre in Water Spout, in the rain with Water Spout. So we'll see. My opponent could be trying to go for a Tailwind right now, which would be annoying, but the fact is he's going to follow me. That's totally fine. If Water Spout one-shots it, I mean, I think Water Spout might just one-shot the Necrozma here. Let's see. So I am faster. I am going to get the Specs Water Spout off, and oh, that is so satisfying. And he's not even, what item is that? Goggles Togekiss, maybe? It's gotta be, right? Yeah, we literally just one-shot Necrozma and it's Goggles. Yeah. So obviously my opponent was expecting to survive Water Spout, probably from something like a Scarf Ogre, but yeah, then, he was probably maybe trying to set up Trick Room. It's also interesting because this means my opponent only brought one of Ludi and Kyogre. And it's going to be Kyogre, it's not even going to be Ludicolo, so that's pretty much game, honestly, I would say. But I should still play it safe. Here you probably Fake Out the Kyogre and maybe go for a Water Spout. Yeah, I want to just get Zekrom in safely. I could actually theoretically just sack both of my Pokemon. Yeah, I don't mind that. I'm going to knock off the Kyogre. I doubt I survive it, but if I sack both Incineroar and Koko, okay, my opponent just forfeits, but by sacking Incineroar and Koko, then I just get Kyogre and Zekrom in with Electric Terrain up, so If my opponent's not Scarf Ogre, then I'll just knock it out with Zekrom immediately. If it is Scarf Ogre, then you have to lock yourself into a water type attack, and Zekrom and Kyogre both resist that. So yeah, that turn 1 play, and the fact that my opponent didn't bring Ludicolo made my life a lot easier. I thought if my opponent was like switching into Ludi turn 1, that could have been really, really, really bad. And I'm kind of surprised my opponent honestly didn't end up bringing it. But yeah, Specs Kyogre, not something once again that we've seen like a lot yet. But and I think it's harder obviously because Scarf Ogre is just faster and easier to throw it onto teams. But if you can get Specs Kyogre in a good spot, it can really just sweep through. So another Kyogre Necrozma team here, but this one's got Toxicroak and Whimsicott. So Whimsicott's kind of scary, as is Toxicroak. I'm actually thinking about bringing the Stack Attack. I'm not the biggest fan of this matchup, mainly because it's like I'd want my own Tailwind to match my opponent's Tailwind, but then I'd be bringing Salamence in a matchup where it has no offensive potential whatsoever, and that's kind of bad. So how do I want to approach this? There's obviously also a Toxicroak on my opponent's end. I might just go with the same lead, Instant Zekrom. I kind of want Stack Attack a Kyogre. I might not bring Coco here. Instant Zekrom. Is that okay? Yeah, I'm still okay with that. Instant Zekrom Kyogre for sure. I just feel like I kind of need Stack Attack for if my opponent wants to Trick Room, or sorry, Tailwind, then I can at least Trick Room and then maybe sweep with Kyogre. Tough call. But I'll bring Stack Attack because I feel like if my opponent just sets up Tailwind with Whimsicott, I can't set up. I mean, I can set up my own Tailwind, but that would require bringing Salamence, which is just not good in this matchup. It just sucks because Coco is a very good Pokemon here. Like Thunder does a lot of damage to everything, but so does Kyogre and Zekrom. So I'm not the biggest fan. I think the Whimsicott's definitely coming out as it does, yeah. But my opponent at least sets up terrain for me with Coco, which is nice. So the question here is turn 1, my opponent knows I'm Scarfed. Do you just protect Tailwind? It's a pretty safe play to make. If you protect Tailwind, you could fake out and switch into Stack Attack. I'm just thinking Coco thinks, okay, I'm in a pretty good spot right now. I'm not really worried about too much. Because the other play I want to do is just double up onto Coco with a fake out and a Bolt Strike, but I could just give my opponent a free switch in. But I suppose even Kyogre coming in, like, it can't one-shot me. But he might have Fake Tears on Whimsicott. I'm going to fake out and switch out. This is just tricky. I really wanted to double up to knock out Coco, but then my opponent just gets Tailwind up. At least here now it's like you're forced to either Tailwind or Taunt. Probably Taunt first. But he doesn't protect Coco. Okay. And Reflect. Oh. Alright, I gotta say I wasn't expecting that. That's cool. So now I could just see a Taunt coming out from Whimsicott. I think you have to Taunt instead of Tailwinding, which means I can switch back out into Zekrom and go for a Gyro Ball. Because like you're staring down Incineroar and Stack Attack. Maybe Coco actually has Taunt. I didn't think about that. That would be pretty bad. I think the better play would have been the Flare Blitz and Gyro Ball Coco, but I was worried about an Encore coming out from Whimsicott. Like another play my opponent could make is Encore Incineroar and Taunt Stack Attack. Coco switching out. That's okay. Into Kyogre? Okay. That's good. If Whimsicott just Tailwinds here, then I'll be very sad. Because you would think it would want to Taunt. If it does Taunt, that actually puts me in a really good spot. Because now I just get Zekrom out against the Kyogre. But if Tailwind goes up, then it gets a little bit trickier. So let's see. Nice. Oof, that's nice. Okay. So far so good. prevented the tailwind from going up, and I knock out Whimsicott successfully. Beast Boost doesn't really matter too much here, but more importantly, I've got Scarf Zekrom out against a Kyogre. Reflect is up, sure, but like, it's still getting knocked out. Unless it's got the Wakam Berry. I wouldn't be surprised to see Necrozma come out here, but I wonder if maybe my opponent brought Toxicroak instead. Either way, we made the best use of, like, that was as good as it could have played out given the lead, because I thought Tailwind goes up there, I'm really screwed. But fortunately, the turn 1 switch and Coco not having taunt or going for it definitely helped me out a bunch. Because if Coco taunts and Whimsicott Tailwinds, then I'm in a more tricky position there. Especially if Whimsicott actually has something like Moonblast. But right now, I actually feel like we're in a pretty darn good spot as Necrozma is going to be coming out. Yeah, so right now, Zekrom kind of has free reign. So I'm actually just going to launch a Fusion Bolt to Kyogre and switch out into Incin. Yeah. Pretty safe play here. Okay, maybe it would have been... I don't know if I agree with the switching in Incin. But I'm slower than Coco with Kyogre, which means if Trick Room goes up, then my Kyogre can sweep through. Although I suppose you could protect Trick Room here if you're not Scarf Kyogre, and then you could maybe Thunder to knock out my Kyogre. But he's just going to give me the Fusion Bolt. I feel like this should knock out even with Reflect. If it doesn't, I'll be shocked. Okay, nice. And I'm guessing the fact my opponent attacked there indicates that he's Scarfed. As we're just going to take a Photon Geyser. Totally fine. Zekrom's really been the MVP today. Like, just being able to put on so much damage. And it takes that Photon Geyser so well, too. I'm like genuinely impressed by Zekrom, honestly. I didn't expect it to be as good as it is. As Coco's just going to come back out, but we are just chilling at this point. Yeah, I mean, Necrozma really does no damage. If Trick Room goes up, that's fine. I'm just going to double up onto Coco, if anything. Because once Coco goes down, Kyogre wins this game. I don't think there's much way I could lose this at this point, honestly. We're also taking so little damage from Necrozma with Zekrom that I'm not even worried about the output from there. And we're just going to get another forfeit. So, some quick games so far today, but just some very strong power from Zekrom, if anything. Well, that first game was really Kyogre, obviously. Just getting like a knockout and a half, or almost 2 knockouts pretty much immediately. And then this last game was decent positioning with Zekrom. Like, the turn that my opponent brought in Kyogre and I had Scarf Zekrom out, like, I felt very confident about my position after that. So being able to deny Tailwind was a big deal. Unfortunately, yeah, Stack Attack ended up being the right call there. I think without it, Tailwind just goes up and I probably just lose the game. So I'm ultimately glad that I did end up bringing it into this game, because I think it would have been pretty tricky otherwise. But yeah. Gonna find an Italian opponent, 1620. Groudon and Xerneas with the Crobat. Okay. So this is definitely a game for Salamence. Question is whether my opponent's seen any of my stuff and knows I'm Roar Salamence. The gimmick has worked quite a lot, but once your opponent has some knowledge about it, it doesn't work nearly as nicely. But my opponent does have the Cortana. That's one of the reasons I did want Salamence as well. So I'm gonna bring Salamence as a lead for sure. I'm leaning towards Salamence Incineroar. Salamence, Incineroar, Kyogre. Don't think Zekrom's great here. Yeah, definitely Stack Attack. So Salamence, Incin, Kyogre, Stack Attack. I like that. Double Intimidate. And then I could Tailwind. The only downside is if my opponent leaves like Crobat Xerneas, which is actually, I feel like, decently likely. Otherwise, I could see something like Instant Xerneas. Maybe I want to go Salamence Stack Attack instead. I feel like Stack Attack puts on a little bit more pressure. And I can at least switch out into Incineroar as well. I don't know if that's the best call, but if it's just like Xerneas is still kind of scary, even though obviously I've got like a Salamence that somewhat gives Xerneas trouble. With Stack Attack, I'm threatening Trick Room immediately. So I've got 2 options of speed control, and I can play based off what my opponent leads with. And obviously I've got the Incineroar to switch into as well. The only downside is I can't protect Salamence. It's going to be Groudon Incin, so that's okay. Would have been slightly nicer to have led Instant, and I really didn't think my opponent would lead that, honestly, but that's okay. That's really not too bad. His Groudon's actually faster than the Salamence, so decently speedy Groudon. Although I do have like very little speed investment. I don't think I have any speed investment in this. Yeah. So turn 1 here, I mean, I'm worried about a Swords Dance coming out. I've got Wide Guard from Stack Attacka. I think I'll just Tailwind. And I'll switch it into Instant. I should take a -2 banded Precipice Blades if he is banded. And more importantly now, this sets me up to just get Tailwind and press Water Spout. Because my opponent didn't lead Crobat, so that could be really good for me. So Fake Out should go into Salamence here. Yeah. And he's just going to Precipice Blades, that's fine. Yeah, because now I just click Tailwind. Nice. Tailwind with Salamence. Question is whether the Groudon stays in. I could see it switching out, so I'm actually going to knock it off. Because if it stays in and knocks my Incineroar out, I just got to free switch it into Kyogre. And if it switches out, I could see Xerneas coming out. And if I got rid of Xerneas' Berry, for example, that'd be really good news for me. And he does switch out. So show me Xerneas. Yeah, it's Coco. That's fine. Because I've got a Specs Kyogre in the back, and I'm about to set up Tailwind. U-turning probably would have been a little bit more optimal there, if that's okay. I'll still get rid of Coco's item, which would be nice. Get my own Tailwind up. He's going to go for a knockoff onto Salamence, which is okay. Does get rid of my Berry, though, but that's fine. And I'm going to get the knockoff against Coco. And it's a Solvest Coco. Okay, so it shouldn't be doing as much damage. So that's a good turn. I'm going to Flamethrower here and U-turn the... Who do I want to U-turn? I'll U-turn Coco. Because I know it can't protect. Let's see. So Instant switches out, that's fine. Into Groudon, that's also fine. That's actually really good news for me because I should be able to... I mean, even if I don't knock out Coco... Actually, I guess that'd be bad if Instant just comes out because I don't think Flamethrower will knock out. But he's going to Electro Web, and I dodge it, which is kind of fortunate, but I don't think it matters too much, quite honestly. And that's perfect because he activates my Berry, and now I get to bring in Kyogre, which is exactly what I wanted. And I've got, obviously, the Hydro Pump on the Salamence as well. This shouldn't knock Coco out. Yeah, which is good. Because now I've got Weather Control, and I can just press Water Spout. I don't think that was Banded Groudon. Based off... Actually, it was -2 Precipice Blades, and it still did as much as it did, so maybe it is. I'm definitely clicking Water Spout here. The question is what do I do with Salamence. It might be optimal to switch out, so then I get to switch back in once Groudon comes... Because, let's see. My opponent here could just, if Groudon has protect Groudon, and then bring in Instant. So I kind of want to switch out Salamence into Instant to get an initial Intimidate off against this Groudon. Yeah, I'm going to bring in my Incineroar and just Water Spout here. Oops, that's an alarm. I need to go pick up my laundry after this. But yeah, I feel pretty good about my position right now, especially because my opponent did just let me get Tailwind up, and that's absolutely essential for this team to do well. So, not the worst. I'm trying to think where I could have played better. Either way, this turn is pretty free, and with next turn being the last turn of Tailwind, I'll be able to get a faster Fake Out off too. So I'm putting on a lot of pressure right now, and Specs Water Spout just demolishes everything that my opponent brought. Okay, Groudon does have Protect, but that's fine. He's going to be sacking Coco. I get the Intimidate off against the Groudon, and if he brings in the Instant, then I can just Fake Out Instant and Water Spout. So, yeah, I feel like I'm in a really good spot. So Coco goes down. That's good. Yeah, I was thinking of staying in with Salamence in case the Groudon switched out. Or just, like, if the Instant comes out, then my Instant can Fake Out... My opponent's Instant can Fake Out my Kyogre, and I can just launch a Hydro Pump into Groudon. But I like the play that I made a little bit more, just because I do get that initial Intimidate off against Groudon. I conserve Salamence for a potential another Tailwind. Losing the Berry is slightly unfortunate, though, because it would mean I could survive a Xerneas attack and get another Tailwind up. Now I probably can't survive, unless... and Xerneas is actually the one coming out, which is interesting. Which means my opponent is definitely switching Groudon out into Incineroar right now and protecting Xerneas. Yeah, so my opponent's going for Xerneas Groudon endgame. So if I knock out Groudon, I win. I'm definitely clicking Water Spout here with Kyogre. Click Water Spout with Kyogre. Or maybe my opponent just sacks Groudon, but I feel like that wouldn't make too much sense. I'm gonna switch Instant out into Stakataka. Yeah. And if I can get Instant and my Stakataka out at the same time, then I can just fake out Groudon and set up Trick Room with Stakataka. Yep. He's sacking Groudon though. Interesting. That's even better news for me. I think that actually just wins me the game. Oh, he's just going for a double. Interesting. I feel like there, it's more optimal to... Look, if my opponent gets that double, I'm actually even in a better position because you can't even fake out. I feel like there it's better to just sack Groudon. Like, don't even bother going for the double. Or switch in Instant, sack Instant, and then you get Xerneas and Instant in the late game. Because now what happens is Instant comes out from my opponent's end. But you can't stop both of my Pokemon, right? Like, you probably fake out Kyogre, but I'm just going to Trick Room and Water Spout here. Yeah. I guess Instant could have low kick. That's my one fear. I don't think it will though. I'm just gonna Trick Room Water Spout. Yep, he's gonna fake out, so no low kick, which should seal us up the game. He's gonna target Stack Attack too. So even if it's Geomancy going up, oh, he's just gonna Moonblast actually. Okay. It's a better play. No special attack drop though, so I feel like if it's not AV and Sin, maybe I still knock out with Specs. Jeez, that's so strong. That's not even a crit. Specs Kyogre is honestly nuts, man. Nice, perfect. Yeah, I figured a special attack drop there could be pretty scary, mainly just because. But if you have low kick there, you should be going for it. I feel like. But I guess if you'd be worried about Scarf Kyogre, so yeah. Pretty solid wins here. I'll play another game just because, yeah, these games have been pretty short. But this one was, like, the fact my opponent didn't bring Crobat made my life a lot easier. Just because I didn't have to worry about that means of speed control. And one of the reasons I ended up making the Salmon set was specifically for matchups like this. Because I actually feel like it's quite good. You know, it puts on pressure against Kartana. So basically my opponent, like, has to think twice about bringing Kartana because it's got to be worried about a Salamence and an Incineroar. And without Kartana, Kyogre just has a lot more room to kind of play around. And that's always super, super nice. Beyond that, let's see. The lead ended up being, like, perfect for me, honestly. I was very surprised when my opponent let that. I thought surely you go, like, Instant Xerneas or Crobat Xerneas or something of the sorts, which is why I did lead the Stakataka. But the lead actually made things even easier for me. But we get another Whimsicott today, so... 2 Whimsicotts, and there's a Terrakion, too. That's something we haven't seen in forever, but, yeah. Very common. Way back in 2011, you would obviously beat up your own Terrakion and just get really strong attacks off. We did see that somewhat throughout the years, more recently too, especially with Terrakion getting Z moves off. I don't like this matchup though, at all, because I could sweep through with my Kyogre, but it would mean me getting Tailwind up, my opponent not getting Tailwind up. Maybe I go for a Trick Room setup and sweep with Kyogre under Trick Room. I want to lead Stakataka. Stakataka and... Stakataka Salamence is actually kind of interesting. I mean, Zekrom's still okay here. I want to bring Zekrom Kyogre. I feel like Instant is probably the correct choice. But if I lead Stack Instant and my opponent leads Kyogre, you can just switch out into Lele to block Tailwind. So I'm actually going to go... Instant Kyogre. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of this matchup because Kyogre Xerneas, it's not like the worst matchup, but the Whimsicott is really the main concern. Without the Whimsicott, I'd probably bring Salamence and just go for a Tailwind. But unfortunately, the fact my opponent can just match my Tailwind means that Salamence is pretty useless. So I gotta approach this matchup similar to how I approached that other Whimsicott game. So we'll see if we can pull it off. It's gonna be Terrakion Whimsicott though. Okay. feel like that's actually really bad for me. I mean, my opponent could literally just beat up. But you've got to be worried. I mean, you could also tailwind and close combat stack attacker. I really didn't think my opponent would lead Whimsicott Terrakion. Instant would have been fine. Yeah, instant stack attacker would have been better. Well, maybe not even. Whimsicott's just not a fun Pokemon to deal with this team. I feel like if I'm my opponent, I'm gonna go for the close combat into stack attacker and the tailwind. So I'm gonna switch out into Instant. Fusion Bolt Terrakion. This just looks really bad, honestly. Yeah, the Terrakion counters the stack attacker really well, which is the main issue. If my opponent just beat up Rock Slides here too, I'm screwed. But that's a kind of risky play in front of a stack attacker. But if you're sure of stack attacker protecting, you're switching out. Okay, Terrakion protects. We're gonna see a taunt or a trick room. Okay, taunt. Well, that is... I got out of it as best as I could have, honestly. Now what do I do? Because you could beat up Rock Slide. Or you could just Tailwind. Tailwind Rock Slide. I feel like I need a... Actually, I'm definitely fake outing Whimsicott here regardless and Fusion Bolting. Oh, I also forgot. You can't Encore Incineroar. Ooh, Quick Guard. Wow, I haven't seen Quick Guard in a while, actually. So that's Tailwind going up, which means I am... Yeah, you just click Beat Up now. That's a nice tack there. That's something I should have considered, honestly. I just haven't seen Terrakion in so long. And, well, Fusion Bolt still does really good damage. I kind of wish I went for the Bolt Strike because it probably knocks it out. I definitely got to switch out into Stack Attacker here. The Quick Guard just makes my life a lot harder, though, because it means I can't fake out Trick Room. Now my opponent's definitely beat up Rock Sliding, so I need a potential miss on Zekrom. Maybe I survive +3 Rock Slide. Oh, what? Is he just Moonblasting? That would make sense, too. Oh no, he's just slower. Huh? I'm confused about that, because the whole point is that you're faster with Whimsicott, so you get it off beforehand. But if I don't miss this, or if I don't get flinched, then maybe I'm still in an okay spot. So please don't get flinched. A flinch here would be really bad. That would just seal up the game more or less. Okay, nice. Alright. We got rid of the Terrakion. That's good, at least. Whew. I really don't know why the Whimsicott got slower than the Terrakion. That's very weird. And I feel like there, if it's faster, I'm just absolutely screwed. A Kyogre comes out, though. So this is interesting, right? Because I got Wide Guard. So I could just Wide Guard Fusion Bolt this turn. My opponent's not expecting the Wide Guard. But he could also have Scald. This is tricky. Because I want to conserve the Instinct because my opponent has a Xerneas in the back. Or sorry, I want to conserve the Stack Attacker. But he could have like something like Fake Tears with Whimsicott. He could Fake Tears Ice Beam. Do I actually expect Fake Tears Ice Beam? What if I just Trick Room and Fusion Bolt? I think that's... Huh? That was so anticlimactic. Why are you forfeiting there? Okay, that was a silly game. I'm kind of sad about that because I feel like my opponent was still in a really good spot. Like, what are you... Not a really good spot. I actually felt like I was in a pretty good position there. I guess maybe my opponent didn't realize his Whimsicott was slower than his Terrakion. He was just like, okay, I don't want to play this anymore. But, like, you still have 2 turns of Tailwind off and you have a Kyogre. Like, what? And if that Whimsicott did have Fake Tears, I don't know. So the play I made there, that turn with Trick Room and Fusion Bolt is you can't knock out the Zekrom unless you've got like Fake Tears and Ice Beam, or maybe Fake Tears Water Spout. I guess if my opponent just Fake Tear or Water Spouts there, then I lose both of my Pokemon, and I probably just lose the game. So I don't know if I like my play there, but the reason why I was like that's so risky because you have to worry about Wide Guard from Sack Attack, and maybe my opponent just didn't have like Spread a type or only had Spread type attacks, like no Scald, and was like Scarfed or Specs or something. But I don't know. I feel like you haven't given up all the information there yet. That game was still far from over. So I don't think that was a game worth forfeiting. But yeah, maybe my opponent was just like, okay, Whimsicott is not the right Whimsicott, and I'm done. So we did get 4 wins today, but that last one definitely kind of anticlimactic. I would have liked to have played that out, honestly, because I feel like I was in a pretty tricky position. I had to outmaneuver my opponent a little bit. Don't know if the Trick Room Fusion Bolt play was the best, but it was covering my bases where it's like, okay, you're probably going to want to knock out Zekrom, and I'll probably get Tailwind up, or sorry, Trick Room up, but I guess my opponent could have taunted Stack Attack and Ice Beam Zekrom. I just thought I could maybe survive an Ice Beam in the range that I was at, but hard to say for sure. I don't think that was my best play, ultimately, looking back, but oh well, we take those. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Thank you, as always, for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time. Alright, peace.